Okay, we're back again with another action-packed edition of Sports Tonight on Channels Television. Thanks for joining in. My name is Austin Okonakwan. There's just so much to talk about, exciting world of sports. But where should we begin from? Home, of course. Of course, you know, the 2014 championship draw has been done in Cairo, Egypt, and the Nigeria has been drawn alongside South Africa, Mozambique, and Mali. We'll talk extensively on that championship that gives the home-based players a chance, you know, to showcase their talent and then, you know, get some international recognition. We'll also talk about athletics. Yes, not internationally, but what's going down with athletics in the country. And then, of course, you know, UEFA Champions League games are going on right now. And Chelsea is taking the lead against FC Basel. Oscar scored the goal for them. And then in the game between Arsenal and Marseille, it's still a goalless draw. Napoli won, Borussia Dortmund 0. Atletico Madrid is playing a 1-0 draw with Zenit St. Petersburg. I won't be doing the talk alone tonight on the show. I've got Onyewuchi Nwachukwu in the studio. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much, Austin.
And of course, the regular face you see on the show, Dumnodi Okontanodi. It's good to have you around.
Yeah, Austin. Thank you very much.
We saw some good football in Nigeria Premier League today, but we won't start with that. Let's talk a little bit about athletics. And then I hear the maiden edition of the Awoture Classics will take off in Sapele.
Yes, it's an event organized for secondary schools around the Delta State. You know, sometimes we look at the state government and their involvement in sport development, their involvement in sport at the grassroots level. And Lagos started theirs like 2 months ago. Yeah. Kwara State had their own championship for secondary school. Same month as Lagos too, and of course Delta is taking it a bit further, organizing the championship for various secondary schools in the state, divided into 3 senatorial districts. It's named after the former Secretary General of the defunct Supreme Council for Sports in Africa, that is Dr. Awotu Elai. Just at least it's over 80 years now. So, and it's named after him because we all know what it stood for. We all know what it represented. We all know what
school sports, grassroots development.
Talking about sport and education, that is what he is known for. So it's a way of developing young talent, going back to where we should have been, getting younger people who could, because we are looking at athletics. You can get these days you don't get. You can maybe probably you just look at.
You can count the competitions for athletics in the country. It's not that much. This is a welcome development.
Yes, a welcome development. I think it should be replicated in various states. It's not just maybe Delta is doing athletic champions. In the north, we have the terrain where you can go you can do the long distance races, the marathon, and several other long distance races. So let's look at where we have our comparative advantage in athletics, and let's pick up from there.
Let me get you talking. This is a good one. I must commend the classics that is coming up. But then it's important we get back to the schools.
Absolutely, Austin. You see, for me, this tournament can serve 2 purposes. Yeah. First, Awoture Elias, like Nodi said, a man that has put in, so much into sports in Africa, not just in Nigeria. He was the Secretary General of the Supreme Council for Sports in Africa, solely responsible for the organization of the All-African Games, the African Olympics. So honoring him is very good for me. It shows that if you put in so much into what you are doing, you could be recognized later on. Then for the kids in secondary school, we all have clamored that the way forward is going back to the basics, the grassroots, catching them young. Exactly. And what they have done is to take this competition to the secondary schools. And for me, education and sports is the way forward.
That's it.
If you combine intellect with sports, you have a very good, sportsman, a very good sportswoman. And that's what they have done. What we should be clamoring for is the structure to make sure that some of these talents that will be discovered, we can groom them to stardom, groom them to the Olympics level, to the highest level.
Not that you discover them now and then they are abandoned.
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk about some of the challenges we've had in the country in terms of developing talents in competitions like these. This is a good one. Where can the country correct their mistakes to harness these talents and make them future champions?
Yes, there are different levels. First, we look at maybe let's leave primary schools. Look at the entire sports.
Yeah.
For
which
some,
we are not taking so serious anymore.
No longer. First, it's for fun, entertainment, but then we see that as part of the physical development of the child. Yeah. Then the secondary school, you have the entire sport, and so at that level, you start grooming them. Though for for a student, you want to be a long jumper, you want to take part in high jump, maybe discus, javelin, amateur. So these are some of the things that you can at that level you can begin to develop them. Then taking them further into the university. This should have been the peak of everything, because how many of us? I think the best we've had in terms of developing structure is creating a high performance center at the University of Port Harcourt. Yeah. I think the university should be part of this. The school should be directly
should be part of the curriculum. If you are talented, it should go hand in hand with the way you are studying.
And should be a policy that must be negotiated between the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Sport. It is not just because I know in some schools, when you say I'm an athlete and you have an exam and you have an athletic championship, a competition, you have to focus on your exam, because your parents will tell you your primary purpose in school is your studies. So I think we can create a balance so that these people can get themselves involved in sport and probably look at ways they can focus on their education, so that they create a right balance. Like you said, the complete man as far as humanity is concerned. So I think that is this. Then another aspect is how many competitions do we do, at what level, not just one-off thing. You have one competition, and next year you don't see them again. And how many do you have in a year? Athletics. Look at athletics. You keep doing it almost every week. The last month alone, we had like 2 Diamond League, 2 Golden League. These are things that you do consistently, and I think the AFM must work out with it, because they have
to keep their athletes competitive.
I think the different zonal technical directors of the AFM, maybe they should look at ways creative ways to draw more competition, get more competition, so that our youth can be engaged. Because if you don't do competition, it's like exams. If you don't have an exam, what do you read for?
Exactly, that's the point, Odi. I totally agree with you. And just to let you know that the goals are coming in all from the different regions in the UEFA Champions League. Arsenal has taken the lead against Marseille to walk out with a goal for the Gunners. That's a good one. And then Atletico Madrid, minutes ago I said it was 1-1, but now it is Atletico Madrid 2. Zenit St. Petersburg 1. AC Milan Celtic are still playing a goalless draw. Barcelona 2, Ajax 0. Who else? Lionel Messi 2 goals for Barcelona. The Schalke 04 and Steaua Bucharest still playing a goalless draw. And then Austria Vienna and FC Porto. Just yesterday's result. FC Porto won that one by a single goal. Quickly, let's just take a look at what's going on locally again. I always wonder the role teachers can play in terms of developing talent mentally. Because you see, sometimes you say a child is doing so well in school, and then they be like, you're doing so well in your education. If you're going to start doing sports now, it's going to bring your performance down. And this child knows he's talented and wants to either play football or be an athlete, that will compete or take it professionally. What role does teachers play in terms of developing these talents?
Very significant role, Austin. Some years back, the inspiration was not there. When you want to combine school and education, school and sports, you are looked upon as a dropout.
Exactly.
But those things are
changing. People be anticipating when you leave school and face one.
Absolutely. So those things are changing. But as a country, we must have a policy.
Yeah.
And that policy should support sports and education. There's nothing stopping the Federal Minister of Education from including some of these sporting activities in the curriculum of the schools. Do you understand? Train teachers. It's not about the normal teachers who take other subjects. Train teachers, physical education, other aspects to develop students mentally. And the ones that have the talent for sports, you single them out and encourage them. Make sure, give them incentives. Don't put so much pressure on them, that will make them, deviate from their talents. So those are the things we should do. Then the facilities are very, very important. Some of the schools, especially the private ones, don't have facilities. You just have, maybe 5 rooms as a school. There are no facility, no space. It's not applicable for the government schools. But let us have facilities. Let us invest. Exactly. In the future of sports. That is the only way forward. It's what you invest that you get. Exactly. If we don't invest in sports, especially at that level, we won't get the result. But in China, those gymnasts that won gold medals at the last Olympics, they started grooming them as from 5, 6, 7 years.
We all saw Usain Bolt grow.
Absolutely. So that is the way forward.
That's it. I totally agree with you again. We're talking domestic athletics at the grassroots level today on the program. We also have our eyes on the UEFA Champions League, and then we told you that the draw for the 2014 African Nations Championship CHAN that will take place in South Africa has been drawn, and Nigeria is in Group A alongside South Africa, Mali, and Mozambique. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk extensively on that championship. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.